Hello, you are on to another episode of Law Minstrel. I am Mwese Mudukbe Mnyim. Today we are continuing in our series on legal concepts that are relevant to nursing, and we'll be looking at two of such legal concepts today. The first we will look at is duties, and the other that we'll look at is wrongs or wrongs. So we'll first look at the legal concept of what a duty is, and then we'll look at the legal concept of what a wrong is. Let me pause here and enjoin you to be a member of our community if you are already not one, and you can do that by simply clicking on our subscribe button, and automatically you become a member of our community. This will enable you to see each of our videos as they drop, and you will also have access to any other things that we'll be bringing up for our community members exclusively. I'll also encourage you to share our videos if they have helped you. Don't keep them to yourself. Kindly share with your peers, members of your influence, if they would be helpful to them as well. We also want to hear your comments in the comment section. I'll meet you there. I always appreciate comments and respond to them as they come. I'll also appreciate you clicking a like if you have in any way enjoyed our lecture. Thank you very much. So we are going to begin by looking at what a duty is. What are duties? A duty has been defined by J.N. Samba in his book Fundamental Concepts of Jurisprudence as an act which one ought to do, and an act the contrary of which will be wrong. What does that mean? A duty is an act that you are obligated to do. It has become your responsibility in law to do that act. Once an act has become mandatory, or you have become mandated to do that act, it is no longer in the purview of your discretion to refuse to do it. The only thing that you are supposed to do now is to do that act. Then such an act will be said to be a duty that is vested upon you to do. When you fail or refuse or neglect to do such an act, then you would have become wrong and become liable to a punishment if a punishment was attached so to the failure or omission of not doing the act. So when a man has a duty, he ought to perform a given act. When we say that a man has a duty, we are inadvertently saying that he ought to perform a given act. So where he does not perform or fulfill the obligation of such duty, the obligation that that duty places on him, he is in breach of the said duty. And where he breaches the said duty, he will become liable to the beneficiary of that duty for restitution or damages or any such punishment that is so attached to the breach or failure to perform the said act. So a duty most often than not may not be in the interest of the one to whom it is ascribed to, but another. So usually it is some other person that is a beneficiary of a duty that is placed upon you by law. So a duty may be moral, may be religious, may be legal, and sometimes it may even be all three of these or only two out of these. So like we said, a duty can be legal, it can be moral, it can be religious. So the distinction is that where that duty is a legal duty, it will be enforced by law, whereas if it is a moral duty or a religious duty and it is right by whatever standards that it should be done, but it is not legal, it is not recognized in law, then the law will not enforce what it has not recognized. It could also be a negative or a positive duty. A negative duty is one that restrains a man from doing something, and a positive duty is one that makes a man to do something. So those are the distinctions. A duty could also be absolute, that is, a duty with no corresponding right. It could be perfect in that it is enforceable in law, and it could be imperfect in that it is not enforceable in law. A duty of this nature is usually left to the conscience of the person on whom that duty has fallen. I think we did an extensive discussion of this when we were talking about rights. You may wish to look at that episode on right for a more detailed explanation on that. Thank you. With that, we've come to the end of our discussion on what duties are. We'll now go to what a wrong is. What are wrongs? Or what is a wrong? A wrong is an act or an omission which is contrary to or at variance with the law or the people's notion of justice or the people's notion of what is right or what is just. So another term used to connote wrong is actually an injury. Although it could be further explained that an injury is that which the party owed a duty suffers from the breach of the said duty. In this wise, an injury could be described as a harm, can also be described as a damage. So a wrong could be moral, it could be legal. As in the case of a duty, the distinction is that where a wrong is legal, it will be enforced by the law, whereas if it is merely a moral or religious wrong, it will be unenforceable in the law. But wherever a legal wrong happens, the position of the law is that there cannot be a wrong without a remedy. This is seen in the Latin maxim, ubi jus, ibi remedium. With that, we have come to the end of our lecture or this episode on legal concepts of wrongs and duties as relevant to a nurse. Thank you so much for being on this episode with me. I will enjoin you again for the last time on this episode to kindly join our community by subscribing to our channel by simply clicking on the subscribe button, and also share this video with persons that are within your sphere of influence by clicking on the share button. You have enjoyed this episode? Give me a like by clicking on the like button. And you want to pass a comment to me? Please do that by commenting in the comment section. It will be the honor of mine to respond to your comment. Thank you so much. Till next time, I remain yours ever, Mwesi Modupe Nye. Thank you.